What I'd like to do now is a super flash round where
Okay.
you answer maybe with one word or one sentence. So we're going to use all of your different expertise here.
Okay.
First bit is about travel and taste.
Okay.
The best city to walk in at 2 a.m.
London.
London. Any reason?
There is something about cities that are normally extremely busy and overwhelming when they're quiet, when you feel like you have it just to yourself, just you and the people who want to stab you.
I don't think I've been in London at 2 a.m. to be honest. Maybe I have.
I love that you pondered that decision though, because there's been many cities that you've walked in at 2 a.m.
Oh, yes.
So to come to that, it took you a while, and it was with good reason.
Because the first one that came to mind was Tbilisi, Georgia, because it's so beautiful at night. But when I was there during COVID, we had a curfew. I think it was 8 p.m. So you had to rush home.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tbilisi is a great city at night. I've been there. Window seat or aisle?
When I'm alone, aisle. When I'm with people, having the window, and then someone else is there, it can help. But I'm quite tall, so the aisle means I can stretch out a bit
I'm
more.
the same. Yeah.
Likewise. Speaking of which, you've been traveling a lot with a new person
Oh, yes.
in your life.
Yes.
How have you found that?
Look, I've been traveling with my wife and our now 1-year-old. We took her to New Zealand to see her grandparents when she was 6 months. Look, the babies are very portable. They travel for free, more or less. Look, and it is difficult. It is certainly harder than traveling alone. Because you're never off. You don't switch off and relax on the flight or anything like that. But it was not so far as bad as we feared, and very rewarding taking her to see family overseas. And as she's becoming older and getting more aware, there are more moments of connection too. Like, she's very sociable, so she'll always make friends on the flight with other people, and that's delightful. But yeah, there are definitely some hard moments, some moments where you just want to disappear into your seat when you're trying everything and they won't stop crying, and you feel really guilty for having them there, like. For many reasons,
It's not easy for anyone, that experience.
Yeah.
It must be horrendous for a parent.
Well, look, I mean, before I was a parent, I remember, and I feel so terrible about this, like giving dirty looks to parents on flights, thinking, why can't they make their baby stop crying? And I feel so bad for doing that. Now that the shoe is very much on the other foot.
Yeah.
What's the most underrated country in Europe?
Poland. So easily Poland. I mean,
Totally agree.
we know the merits of Poland so well, but it's still, and I've tried as a travel writer to get the story out there, but it's still, the official Poland tourist slogan is more than you expected. And
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Poland is so much more than you expected, but come on, have some confidence.
Something more ambition.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Poland is, if you look at, just take a random city, take Turin, for example. I mean, Turin is as gorgeous as Venice, it is just stunning. And no one goes there. No one's heard of it outside of Poland. It's really fascinating. And I hope that will change.
It's really interesting, though, how it's changing in terms of when I first came to Poland, which wasn't that long ago. But I suppose I was traveling to Poland for 10 years or 7 before moving here. But a lot of the time it would be, why Poland?
Yes.
A lot of Polish people would say, why Poland? I don't get asked that question anymore. So it must be changing quite quickly.
Yes, you're right, actually. And like you, I was traveling to Poland for many years before making a home here. And at first, you're from New Zealand. What are you doing here? And it was almost hostile. Like, why? And I haven't been asked that for a long time, actually, for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think it's changing, which is good, because I agree that it's the most underrated country in Europe.
I think it's getting more confident.
Yeah.
Pierogi or fish and chips?
Ooh. I'm sorry, but having just waxed lyrical about how much I love Poland, I think I can get away with saying fish and chips.
Pierogi is good, but I'm fish and chips too.
Yeah.
I think I know what you'll say here, but paper maps or Google Maps?
Google Maps. Yeah, I have a hopeless sense of direction. I mean, I do miss the times when I was doing my gap year travel. Look, it would have been, iPhone would have existed then. It's not that long ago, but it wasn't so just ingrained in our lives. I would have the Lonely Planet guides, and I would turn the page to the paper map and use that to navigate to my hostel where I was staying. I do somewhat miss that. You have to work a little bit harder, but now I'm so dependent on Google Maps. Yeah, completely.
It's a fascinating development.
Yeah.
We couldn't go without it nowadays.
Yeah.
We'd struggle. Really
Oh,
struggle.
yeah.
So this is business and productivity. Coffee or tea when writing?
Coffee in the morning. If I have to be sharp in the evening, then I'll drink tea in the evening. So quite often if I start early, but then I have late calls with different time zones, black tea in the evening. So I find I can't sleep if I have coffee in the evening, but tea kind of hovers a little bit lower on the spectrum.
Where does beer get introduced into the equation?
The beer, if there is no work in the evening. Although I will say that a drink with certain kinds of writing, not really my commercial writing, but if you want to just explore a story a little bit more, can actually help.
Interesting. Never tried that. The best time of day to do a restructure?
Like a business restructure. Oh my God, those are always brutal. Do the harder things in the morning if you can, because otherwise you just be dwelling on them throughout the rest of your day. I mean, I've had situations where I've been restructuring things in New Zealand from Poland and calls, well into the wee hours. As a general rule, always be the one who does the call at the crap time. Don't make other people do that.
Yeah.
But that can be an exhausting rule to live by.
Yeah. E-cover or hardcover?
For book, yeah, I like paperbacks like you have there. They're great to travel with, and you have that tactile feel that you were talking about before, but they're not quite as clunky or heavy as a hardback. I find with hardbacks, the dust jacket always gets lost. I mean, I'm a book lover, but I treat books terribly. There are always scuffed pages and turned things, and red wine spilled on them or something. So
that is being a book lover.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I think so.
A well-read book that looks well-read
Yeah.
is really impressive on the shelf.
I was reading this travel book, and my daughter, when she was a bit younger, got hold of it and essentially nibbled around the edges of it, and it had all these. I sent a photo to the author on Instagram. Like, I just devoured your book, and so did my daughter, and sent it to him, and he was gracious enough to appreciate it.
Cool. The one app that you'd keep on if your phone was wiped?
My phone was wiped. One app. Google Maps is an obvious one, but also Spotify is amazing. I mean, I get why it is frustrating for artists, but to have every song that has ever been recorded at your fingertips is pretty. Like, I remember as a teenager, furiously trying to find a way to illegally download the latest Eminem track or something. And LimeWire, exactly. It would crash your whole. Your family couldn't use the phone because you're on dial, and it would take days, and then you'd finally download it and open it. It would be something completely different. And so that's
on a similar topic. I've recently been trialing not having my phone. I did 10 days without it, and then I realized what would I miss if I just gave my phone up, and it would be Spotify and music. And then I thought, what did I used to do before Spotify? I was like, no, I can't go back to downloading through LimeWire and corrupting my whole laptop. Yeah. I can't go back to those times.
How was the 10 days?
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah. I loved it so much that I've come off of the 10 days. Okay. My phone has started to play havoc in my life.
Okay.
It's almost like a message.
Yeah.
Give it up.
So
it's difficult to give your phone up.
In terms of keeping in touch with all of the things that I'll think, what if I miss a phone call? What if I'm not able to keep in touch with people I want to meet? How did you navigate?
I realized not much of it matters.
Right. Okay.
That's
interesting.
I kind of came back with the perspective of we're all cogs and we all play our parts, and I can't play my part without that person playing their part. But ultimately, what's the price? What's the price if we're always, if we're engaged in a book and a notification goes off and it distracts you away from the book, arguably what's most important, I'm not sure, but could you see yourself doing 10 days without a phone, or a lifetime without a phone?
I probably have a bit of a phone addiction problem. I'm checking it a million times a day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would struggle with the idea of that, and I think I would make up an excuse I need to be in touch with my wife to coordinate childcare, or there's work stuff that I need to do. But I don't know, I often wonder, because we use phones we have the assumption now that people we've made plans with will be immediately contactable. I try and cast my mind back to before this was the case. If you made plans with someone, I guess people were just more reliable, right? Yeah. We just didn't flake. We just followed through on the plans that we made 3 weeks ago. Via posted letter. Yeah.
And if you stood in that bar for half an hour and they've not turned up, something might have happened to them, or they're gone now.
Yeah.
Cut them from your life. They didn't turn up at the right time.
Bastards. Yeah.
No, but there was a beauty in that as well in the 10 days, is just trying to navigate your way to somewhere that you think you know where to get to. You've not got Google Maps on your phone because you've given it up for 10 days, and you're not sure if your friend's going to turn up because you can't immediately tell them if your plans have changed.
Did you tell people that, hey, I'm going to be phoneless for 10 days, or you just threw yourself into it?
Some people I did and some people I didn't, and that got me into a bit of trouble. But
Yeah. Did you have to apologize to people, hey, I've been doing this thing where I've not had my phone?
yes, lots of
That's
times.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your work mantra in 3 words?
Get shit done. Are we allowed to swear on this?
Of course.
There's, particularly in creative world, there's always a million reasons to not do something, to not write this book, to not publish this thing, to not move forward with this article. It's reasonably low stakes. I often remind myself I'm not a doctor or a pilot. If I make a mistake, a book won't sell well. We'll recover, we'll carry on. So there's very much a bias towards trying something, which suits me well.
Nice. So this one's personal and legacy. One book that every digital nomad should read.
Untethered. I've read it and it's a great book for a digital nomad.
Yeah, thank you. I certainly wrote it with that intention, but I'm trying to think. There are so many wonderful travel books, and most of the ones that I read are a little bit older. But you know what? There's On the Road by Jack Kerouac, and I think the first time you read it when you're young, you think, oh my God, this is amazing. This is what life should be like. And then the second time you read it when you're a bit older, you're like, that's actually, these people are a little bit sad, underneath all of the craziness of it. And then you kind of realize the highs and the lows of travel. And I think it's worth enjoying the thrill and the excitement and the freedom, but also understanding that it comes at a cost too. And that there is a reason why the default is the way that it is, which I've kind of sort of returned to, or tried to anyway. All questions for the hypothetical new book.
I really wanted to speak about cost today, so I'm glad that you brought it up there, because there are trade-offs with living abroad, away from family, away from really close friends. There are trade-offs in being involved in businesses and entrepreneurship. Where do you find the intersection in all of that, and how do you stay sane throughout all of?
Yeah, I've never claimed to be staying sane. But I would say one that, there's a phrase I've used in the book actually, that if you can work from anywhere, you often end up working from everywhere. And, I've found myself responding to work emails where in Tbilisi, Georgia, there is this park that high up on the hill that overlooks the city. And there is this old Soviet era Ferris wheel that gives you just incredible views of the city below you, or at least apparently it does, because I remember hopping on it, feeling my phone vibrate, reading and responding to some work thing, and I kind of remember what it was, and then I put my phone back in my pocket and I've missed the whole thing. That's just a little bit too, that's very symbolic, but you can find yourself working from all sorts of environments. And sometimes I do miss, I guess, the concept of hey, I'm going traveling now, going to go back to work in 2 weeks, leaving the laptop at home. That for me is anathema. And that's partly how I structure my work too, because chances are that if I've somehow managed to engineer a calm week in the publishing world, something's going to be happening with watches, or something's going to be happening with travel writing, and these are all completely different universes. So to coordinate time off across all of them would be, and then I would probably just end up going crazy because I'm so used to constantly doing stuff. Writing is helpful for that.
The New Zealand Herald or the Times?
So the New Zealand Herald gave me a 2-page spread for my book, so I'm always a fan of them. And the Times mentioned it in a column, so the New Zealand Herald gave me more coverage. And it's my own sort of a purely narcissistic and self-promotional reasons. I do think the Times overall has a higher quality of journalism, but the Times is a very political product, and it is the mouthpiece of the British establishment, which I'm very much not part of. And New Zealand Herald it's really New Zealand's only proper national paper, not including some of the good online publications. I don't read it often enough to know it intimately, though.
Most sacred place you've ever stood?
Sacred. That's an interesting word, right? I mean, and I can talk about travels in Tibet that I did when I was living in China, and that is, it comes to mind when you say sacred because it's people are so interested in the tradition there. This is interesting. I was in Tibet in 2014, so 12 years ago, and I remember I was traveling with a couple of fellow students at my Chinese university, one of whom was Polish, and we were hanging out with a bunch of monks. Speaking to them, my peers had better Mandarin than I did, and just chatting to them, and one said, "Oh, I'm Polish," and the monk said, "Lewandowski." And this was a long time ago, so the culture travels.
He was still a good player back then.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
A good player. Yeah. What's your hidden talent that has nothing to do with your writing?
Wow. Can make a very good dirty martini. Like it's the only thing I can cook. It's exceptional. Yeah.
If you could only wear one watch for the rest of your life.
Oh, easy. The one I'm wearing right now, Traska Summit here. It's actually a discontinued colorway. Sandstone yellow. Never fails.
Excellent. I'm glad I asked you that. That was strategic. Okay, this is this or that.
Okay.
Rapid fire. Plotting or pantsing?
I'm not sure I understand.
Writing with a plan or by the seat of your pants?
Oh, yeah. Pantsing, for sure. Yeah.
Silence or music while working?
Music, normally.
I can't do that.
No,
I don't know
find
how
that
you do
difficult.
that.
Really?
I really don't know how you do that. The lyrics especially pull me. So
Okay.
I'm like, I just can't concentrate.
No, I'm used to it. I don't know. It's
Music with lyrics or music
Yeah.
without?
No, with.
Oh, okay.
It's a nice. It kind of pulls you back when you want it to. It's almost like climbing with a rope on, right? It's like a connection back to the real world.
That's high intelligence, so I just can't do it. Early riser or night owl?
Used to be a night owl. Now I have a baby, very early riser. That's her choice.
Digital notes or handwriting?
Handwriting is better. This is something about the hand-brain connection. It's healthier. So I should do more handwriting, but in practice, I end up mostly doing digital notes.
And finally, rural Poland or downtown Shanghai?
Ooh, different times of life. When I was in my mid-20s, definitely downtown. Shanghai, now I'm aspiring family man, rural Poland, for sure.
Good on you. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Have you?
Really, really enjoyed it.
It's been a real pleasure. I love the dynamic between the two of you. I can see why this idea is working. I'm really excited to see it grow.
Thank you.
And I'm excited for the third book. What's it going to be named? Have you got it?
My working title is Inventing Home or Reinventing Home, but it's still a long way from the finish line with that.
Well, keep us posted and we'll push it.
Please do. That would be amazing. Come back on to.
So we'll get you back on to speak about it.
Yeah,
That would be an honor.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Nathan.
Thank you so much. That was so fun. Good
Yeah.
on you. Great. Well researched.